stunts being underappreciated in a sense as well in Hollywood. Only the Screen Actors Guild basically does have an award in TV and movies to give out an award for best stunt ensemble. And the Oscars don't have that yet. It's like the last major branch who does not have an Oscar category. And I feel like it's going to come up in the conversation again this year, especially with this film. Dune will have a bunch of action in it. And I'm sure there'll be some other Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. So hopefully this conversation gets accelerated to a point where these people get their due because it incentivizes more great action, I guess, to be put into movies. And it also would
I
solve
just think
kind
that
of yeah.
there's just been such a low period of good action for a while. There
Right.
has been no reason to praise action when most of it had been digitally enhanced. Where I say digitally enhanced, John Wick still has a lot of CG in it that
Yeah.
enhances the scene. But you can see that in films, and you said great example like Mission Impossible. There's something different about those scenes, and it's the same with John Wick that it feels raw, it feels authentic, that it's just CGI enhancing what has already been captured in camera, not capturing something in camera and then sending it to the, visual effects team to create a scene from that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean,
and I think that's
yeah.
where the argument comes in for a a stunt category at the Oscars because this kind of film should win.
I mean, also just last year with Avatar, you got like a lot of stunts with the underwater filming. That like
Mm.
essentially it's all of the dangerous stuff that happens and the safety precautions where the stunt people come in and do all of that essential work that I guess it would go more to like the superhero movies that would get nominated, but I feel like that would just be a win overall for the Oscars as well, for like something that they've feared for a long time to I guess become more and more irrelevant and people not caring about them as much to be
Maybe
included.
Jamie Lee Curtis could have got a second Oscar for being wired up in Everything Everywhere All at Once for Best Action,
Best hot dog finger
Best
flicking.
Hot Dog Flicking.
Yeah. And yet
It's
another award
yeah,
that I mean, Everything Everywhere this year probably would have gotten, right? Other than maybe Top
Best
Gun,
Action.
because the
Oh,
action,
you actually, yeah, Top Gun could have gotten, but I mean, it depends what they categorize as action.
yeah.
Maybe it's just like captured in camera action, not CGI action. But then again, if we're going to do that, we can't have MCU films come in there because
I don't
most of
think
the
no.
action
I
in
think it
that
would
would have
just
been
be stunts overall. I don't think that the CGI thing would affect that in the slightest. Because what
but what
you mean
counts as
is
a
like when
stunt
we get a
then?
full body replacement, right? That does like then the action in a sense,
Yeah,
right?
because as you said, visual effects action, stunt action. What counts as a stunt? Is it something physically done?
Yeah. Well, no,
Yeah.
I think the Oscar expert Cole had a great video about this like the other day that he made about why it should be added. And he I think what he proposes that it's called stunt design, not stunt performance or whatever, because it is an art form in itself with the
Okay,
stunt
sure.
coordinator and the director to direct it, and it's like a separate part of I guess the stunts. And then it would kind of be carried over into when there's a CGI effect. It's still extending the stunt thing. So it would still
Yeah.
be part of this, although it is an overlap with
Sure.
the
If it's
VFX and
stunt
whatever.
direction, then that's fair. If it's stunt direction,
Yeah, stunt
that
direction
is
or stunt
a
design, yeah,
yeah.
something like
If
that.
it's
Yeah,
just best stunt, I'm thinking actual stunts done in a film, not the visual
the Tom
side, the
Cruise
visual effects
award.
side. But if it's
Yeah,
best stunt direction, then yeah, I guess.
I think best stunt would also be so limiting in a sense that it's like also to one person and one stunt or one character, and the stunt design would be more overall for the branch. And one of the issues being is that like what the academy has used so far for not including it is like there's like about 35 members in the academy at the moment that are stunt people, and the smallest branch otherwise is like one of the production design or whatever with like
Mm,
130 members, and they're like, well, there's just not enough people around to vote for this to have its own branches. Like, well, add a bunch of people. There's more than enough talented people
Yeah.
working in stunts. So I feel like this is an easily fixable problem. It's also not the biggest thing. You still get these movies. They don't need an award. It would just be nice for them to be acknowledged and appreciated overall, because at the end of the day, that's what these awards should be for, at least for the consumer, not for
Yeah.
the industry within. We talked
The
about
other
this in
thing as
the
well,
yep,
just
yep,
quickly,
yeah, yeah,
before we move on about stunt category, is that if it does get into the Oscars, it would have definitely gotten films an Oscar nomination when they didn't get one. I think two that
yeah.
stand out for fairly recently that were great action. Bullet Train, not
Mm,
nominated for anything, and I felt that out of everything, the action in that was the best part, but there was
yeah,
nothing else there. Another great one, less so, but I thought that the action was really good. The Gray Man from Netflix. That
right.
should have gotten something for the action, but now I think of it,
Eh,
most of that action was digitally enhanced on a green screen,
yeah,
and I felt that that could be these films that we had a lot of fun with that sure weren't breathtaking like the John Wick films. They're not the most, as I said, emotionally hard hitting films, but has any John Wick film been nominated for an Oscar?
I don't think they have. The only thing I could see is with the third one being for cinematography. Let's actually check real
Yeah.
quick. Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films in 2019 for the third one, and it was a nominee for the Art Directors Guild.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing with. It's surprising to me that I'm not even seeing the. Wait, this is baffling. Wait, why not for SAG, the Screen Actors Guild? Why didn't they get? They should have probably won like those stunt categories. Or were they not implemented yet? Would be crazy if like John Wick doesn't get like a nomination in the stunt department for the movies. Well, anyways, it's
Mm.
that's a bit of a tangent there.
But like if I'm totally honest, out of anything that the stunt direction category could bring to the Oscars, it's just an acknowledgement of films that didn't have anything crazy going for it, but
Mhm.
wanted to entertain you with action. And I think The
Yeah,
Gray Man is a perfect example of that, and so would Bullet Train. That's another great
it
example.
would
That
be.
should get some sort of
It
nomination.
would be very funny if, like, the usually like how the Oscars work is like in the specific branches they end up making the nominees, but then the whole Academy
Mm,
votes on the winners, right? Well, I guess
yep.
that wouldn't happen with the nominations, but it would be very funny if like something that is more Best Picture esque then wins, although it has clearly the worst stunts in it. Just
Yeah.
because like people don't bother to watch those other films. That would be very Oscar like, but yeah, I guess in recent years there have been some changes.